Okay, this is for my distance learners. After you watch the Math Antics video, you may be very confused about how to add and subtract, positive and negative numbers. So I want to go over a quick thing that I did with my in-class students, because his rules with 2 rules and 4 cases and all that is really a lot to remember. And if that works for you, that's great. But if it's too much, maybe this will help. So if I am adding positive and negative numbers, integers, which are the whole numbers, but this works for fractions, decimals, anything, positives and negatives. Okay? Here's the rules. The first thing you need to do is check the signs. If the signs are the same, if the signs of the numbers you're adding are the same, you're going to add the absolute values and keep the sign that they already had. And I'm going to show you some examples in a second. If the signs are different, you are going to find the difference. I'm not going to write that out. I'm going to write subtract. But the reason I say it the other way, I'll show you in a minute. And keep the sign of the one that has more. Now let me explain what I mean by this. So here I'm going to do 7 plus 3. Okay, you know how to do this already, but bear with me. 7 is positive, 3 is positive. The signs are the same. So I'm going to add and keep the sign. 7 plus 3 is 10. The sign was positive. I keep that sign. I don't need to write it because if there is no sign, it means positive. But what if I'm adding 2 negatives like this? I got a negative 7 and a negative 3. The signs are the same. Again, I'm going to add the absolute values. 7 plus 3 is 10, and keep the sign that they already had. So negative 10. Okay, that's how to add if the signs are the same. If the signs are different, I'm going to do negative 7 plus 3. I'm going to find the difference. So I ignore the signs and I go, okay, 7 minus 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. Then I keep the sign of the one that had more. I had 7 negatives and 3 positives. So I'm going to keep the negative sign because there were more negatives. And the answer is negative 4. What if it was the other way? What if I had 7 plus negative 3? Okay, I got a positive. The 7 is positive. The 3 is negative. The signs are different, so I subtract. I take 3 away from 7, and I got 4. I keep the sign of the one that had more. In this case, the 7 was positive, and that's more than 3, so the answer is positive. The reason I say find the difference and not just subtract, and I don't know that it really causes that much confusion, but what if I have 3 plus negative 7? The order doesn't matter when we're adding, but here I've got a positive 3, a negative 7. Signs are different. I need to find the difference. It doesn't matter which number comes first. I'm still going to take whichever one has more absolute value. 7, in this case, minus 3. So that's 4, and then the 7 was negative, and that was more negatives than positives, so the answer is negative. Same situation if I do it the opposite way. Negative 3 plus 7. I've got a negative and a positive, so I'm going to subtract 7 minus 3. I just put the biggest one first. 7 minus 3 is 4, and the 7 had more, and it was positive, so the answer is positive. There's my rules for adding positive and negative integers. Here comes my rule for subtracting positive and negatives. Subtracting positives and negatives. This one is super simple. This is the only rule. Oh, I was trying to draw a star and I messed up. Here we go. Add the opposite. And then I'm going to put down here C adding positives and negatives. So let me show you what I mean by that. If I'm subtracting, I'm going to go 7 minus 3. The first thing I do when I see subtraction is I change it to an addition problem and change the sign of the number after the subtraction. So right now I've got positive 7 minus positive 3. Changing it to addition, change the sign of the 3, and now it's negative. And now I'm adding 7 plus negative 3. The signs are different. I subtract. That gives me 4. Keep the sign of the one that had more. That was the 7. It's positive. What if I had negative 7 minus 3? Again, subtraction, I'm going to change the sign and change the sign of the number after it. Change it to addition. Change the next number to the opposite. Add the opposite. Negative 7 plus negative 3. Signs are the same. I add and keep the sign. Let's see. If I have it the other way, I'm going to do 3 minus 7. Same thing. Add the opposite. And now I've got negative 7 plus 3, or 3 plus negative 7. Signs are different, so I subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. Keep the sign of the one that had more. The negatives had more in that case. And what if I do negative 3 minus 7? Same thing. Add the opposite. And I've got negative 10. But what if I had negative 3 minus negative 7? Here's the thing I remember when I'm subtracting. Every time I see a subtraction sign, I need to draw 2 more lines. The first line will always be to change that subtraction sign to an addition sign. The second line changes depending on the number after it. When it was up here, and this was positive before, my second line was horizontal to make that 7 negative. In this case, where my 7 is negative, my second line will be vertical to change that to positive. 2 lines. The first line will always change the subtraction to addition. Second line will either add a negative to the number or change the negative to positive, whichever is the opposite of what it already was. So here I have negative 3 plus a positive 7. Signs are different. I subtract. That gives me 4. Keep the sign of the one that had more. 7 is more than 3. The positives win. 4, the answer is positive. Hopefully this will help you to be able to add and subtract. These rules still apply if you're doing fractions or decimals. However, on your assignment, when you see fractions and decimals, you may use the calculator. In fact, you can use the calculator on the assignments, the learning activities, anyway. On the intervention, I would like you to do the worksheet that is under intervention, and I would like you to do that without a calculator, please. Practice on the intervention worksheet without using the calculator. You may use the Desmos calculator on your learning activities, but not on the intervention practice. So you have 3 different things to do. And then for Friday, I'm going to give you an addition worksheet and a subtraction worksheet. And I don't want you to use a calculator tomorrow. Okay, thanks for listening. Have a good day.